going to check on our resident bluebirds. They've had a batch hatch. Mom just flew in. So I have a feeling she'll be flying out here in just a moment. Today is Saturday, June 17th, 2023. Hoping that somebody would pop their little head out here so that you could see them and say hi. Okay, well that didn't work out quite how I hoped it would. Mom's in there hiding. But a minute ago the babies were out, sticking their little heads out, waiting for Mom to come back with some more food. I'll back up and see if she comes out. They're fantastic to have in and near the garden because they eat insects. We're thinking about putting up a couple more houses on the other posts in the garden because as long as they're eating things that are not bees, that's good for the garden. I hope they develop a taste for potato bugs. That would be fantastic. All right, so maybe we'll come back to that. That was kind of boring, sorry. So today, Troy and I have spent all day out here again, and things are looking good. Really happy and proud of the way things are going. So again, here on the south end, we have Brussels sprouts that were just put in the ground a couple of weeks ago. They're doing all right. We have Brussels sprouts over here, marigolds. Last week, I showed you some broccoli. Mom has harvested some broccoli and has eaten it. She said it was very tasty. We got some more heads coming on. That's where she harvested the head. And that should continue to produce. Usually after your first clipping from the broccoli, the other heads aren't quite as tightly formed. They almost look like broccolini, if you will. But the plants themselves are doing really well. They don't seem to be, they're not being attacked. What is that? There's a rock on the broccoli. That's broccoli. Okay, totally random.
From when I was rotor-tilling.
But we've got our megaton cabbage over here. We've got two of these guys, and they're starting to form heads, which is exciting. And the marigolds are doing very well right next to them. And then these are smaller cabbage plants over here. They haven't really started to head yet. Well, what's really crazy is these tomatillos. Holy crap. These things, I think, look better than the tomatillos that we grew in the city garden last year.
Absolutely.
They look healthier. So we tied a couple of them up because they're getting a little wonky down here, kind of twisting up on the bottom. So we're starting to tie them up to the trellis so that they continue to go. You can see we've got a flower. So there will be a fruit there in the next week or so. And that's probably what I'm most excited to show you in the garden this week is we've got plants that have fruit on them. You can actually see them starting to form the fruit. It's been a long time coming. There's our cucumbers, starting to see some blooms and blossoms on those. And our cucamelon.
Or sour gherkin.
And there's the bitter melon. Really coming on nicely. And we're gonna go right to your melon. Troy's been really excited about these watermelons, and I'm excited too. It's a variety that was developed by a guy in Idaho in the 1970s. and it's supposed to do well in cooler climates. And we have our very first melon.
I know it's small. Oh, there's a second one. I know they're small, but
They're coming.
it makes me excited.
Yeah.
It's the small things.
And there's lots of blooms and blossoms on it. We'll have to do some research and decide whether or not we want to pinch any of those blossoms to help put additional energies into just a few melons, but we'll figure that out. We got plenty of time to figure that out yet. This is a mango melon, and it's doing okay. These guys are starting to get crazy big. These guys are various different kinds of squash.
I think this guy we might trellis next year. Look at the way he's vining.
Yeah, he's got crazy vines. Look at that. Isn't it just wild how they reach out and twine around anything they can possibly find? There's a blossom. Got more squish over here. Another squish over here. I suppose we will give the zucchini a moment. There's the mama bird. She just went into the house. I couldn't get her to poke her head out before. Oh, she just went in. We've been watching these bluebirds in this house. Oh man, probably 10, 12 years now, right? They seem to use that house every year. It's awesome. Oh, Troy, want to tell us about this one?
This is the blue pumpkins, I think.
And we've got a
We've
pumpkin.
got a pumpkin.
And look at all those blossoms. Exciting stuff.
We have food.
We have food.
Oh, looks like there's a new one there.
All right.
Not even a blossom on it yet. It's already
Very cool. So we've still got weeding to do, but we also got a lot of weeding done today. I got some onions here coming up. I need to tackle this section so that we can uncover our herbs. We've got turnips and radishes. And then just behind that is Swiss chard. And all of my transplanted morning glories are doing well on either side of the trellis. I think this is where I'm experiencing most of my impatience. Is I so badly want those guys to just be up on that trellis and blooming and beautiful, but I've got to be patient. So, oh, Joel planted this goofy little potato, and he's been disappointed the last few times that we've been up that it has not come out of the ground. There it is. Jolie Joel, there's your potato. Very good. So over here we've got peppers. These peppers, these are the bell style. They've got fruit kind of coming on there. The blooms are starting to go away and the fruit is forming. Come down here a little further.
It's a watermelon, I think. Your mom said.
Yeah, that's a melon of some sort. Then we have ground cherries. I'm excited to see these things start to bloom and put on fruit so I can show you what they look like. I had never seen them nor heard of them until Janice, my sister, grew them. And they're kind of tasty. They're a neat little thing to snack on. These are Troy's peppers. We've got jalapenos and Thai hot. I need to get a few little blades of grass out of those guys, but they're coming along.
Considering how pitiful they were.
They were super tiny when they started. And here's the tomatoes. They've done pretty well since we pruned them last weekend. Don't have time for it today, and we're headed home to the cities yet this evening to celebrate Father's Day in the cities. So probably next weekend when we're up, we'll do a quick weed on anything that might be in there. What's making all kinds of noise over here? Oh, more shenanigans in the garden. Last week it was potato bugs getting it on. Now it's birds. Anyway, This is a family program. Next weekend, then, we will come through the tomatoes, do another pruning on some of them, and tie the others up that are ready to be tied up to the trellis. These guys, I was so scared of the tomatoes. I'd never started a tomato from seed. It just seemed daunting. I mean, especially we can go to almost any store and buy start tomatoes. But look at these. I mean, they started as just wimpy little shoots way back in April, and here they are, growing, blossoming. This is the fun part. The work is yet to come, but this is the fun part. Basil. That stuff is all doing really good too. Those started super duper tiny, but they are taking off. We've got, I think, 6 different varieties of basil throughout here. And I think my personal favorites right now are these globe basils. They form pretty much this perfect little circle, sphere, I should say. They smell wonderful. Then you got the purple basil behind it. So anyway, that's the tomatoes. They're all in about the same stage where you can see here, this is why we need to prune them again, because this is a sucker and that needs to come off. But that's the project for next weekend. So let's loop over here. Oh, yeah, we had a couple of tomatoes when we were pruning last weekend that I accidentally decapitated the top of the tomato instead of just the branches. This one, interestingly, has started a brand new top, which is cool. And then we took the top and just stuck it in the dirt because tomatoes, they're fuzzy, right? The stalks are fuzzy, and each one of those little fuzzy things has the potential to become a root. So if you stick in the dirt, it's quite possible and probable that it will root. And they look sickly, but they're still alive. Those are the tops that we just stuck in the dirt, and there they go. Not that we couldn't have afforded to lose a couple tomatoes, but what the heck? It's another one of those, why not? There's a good looking specimen. Yeah, all right. So we'll come over here. We decided that we are not going to weed the carrot rows until 4th of July. And that is because they're still really tiny. Uprooting some of this grass and the other weeds around the carrots would disturb the carrots to the point where they just might not survive. So now the daikon radish. It's doing really well. Have you looked at the root to see how the root's developing?
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a peek. Well, I can see it's white, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's cool. We're gonna have to.
They're in there.
They're in there. Cool, cool. This is a weed. It's called purslane. It almost, yes, it looks and feels like a succulent almost. You can eat it. I've never tried. My sister has. I guess the smaller it is, the tastier it is. It can get bitter when it gets big, but we pull it. We don't eat it, but you could. And there's taters. Taters are doing well. These are the 3 rows that we weeded last weekend. They're looking good. We are visiting them every time we come up and exterminating potato bugs. And I know my mom is coming out a time or two during the week to try and exterminate whatever she can find. So far, just through pinching them, we've been able to keep them under control. And I sincerely hope that that's what we can do for the rest of the season. I just got some help readjusting my camera so that my finger's not in the way.
No, it's actually the audio.
Oh, the
When
audio.
you hold it like this, you're blocking the microphone, so you want to hold it like this so it picks up the microphone.
Here's Carrot. Here's some more carrots. Rock and roll. All right, let's hustle this up a little bit, I suppose. There's another good little spot of carrots down there. I'm gonna walk around you. Some nice blossoms on this tomato. All right. We had started watering, and then Troy kindly turned it off for me so that I could do our little tour, because the well water is really frickin' cold. And yeah, it would have been uncomfortable to walk through here and get rained on. So these are the snow peas, and they came up really sporadically. Troy just replanted some, so we'll see if we can't fill in the blanks here. And then the peas that are really taking off start about here, and these are shell peas. So peas that you would let develop in the pod and then shell them and eat them. And look at that, they're just reaching out and touching somebody. It's crazy. They've had no help finding the fence. They just do that on their own. Oh, should show you the pretty taters, the ones we weeded today. We're starting to get blooms on those as well, which means that definitely by the 4th of July, we'll be able to reach under there and steal some and eat them as new potatoes. Good stuff. Down here, I believe,
This is where the kidneys.
yes, these are kidney beans. They're looking good. All coming up nicely. And then the pinto beans. Little sparse, but they're doing okay.
Oh, they're still coming.
We're noticing, even with some of the potatoes, that some are just late bloomers, like that guy. I mean, that one's huge. That one looks like it's been growing for about 5 days. So, you never know. That's why you never give up hope. Anyway, that's about it. There's some more pinto beans over here that didn't do very well. Again, we'll wait and see if anything additional comes up. These are some bush beans. So instead of trellising, I mean, they might grab on to the fence a little bit, but probably won't. They'll probably get about knee high and stop. We call these the big purple beans, just because they were big and purple, hence big purple beans. This is another variety of beans. And then we get into our rattlesnake beans. Again, these guys came up a little sporadically. They're really starting to take off. We did kind of fill in the blanks here with some additional seeds. It's going to help for 2 reasons. Succession, really. As all these plants that are up right now will be far more mature, they'll be producing, and then we'll have some younger ones coming in to produce afterward. They're considered indeterminate, which means that as long as you're picking and kind of stimulating the plant, it will continue to grow and continue to set on blossoms and continue to set on bean pods. So we got one more row of potatoes, but I'm noticing that we're at 20 minutes here on our video. I thank you for watching and being a part of this. And it's definitely a learning experience for us. We're enjoying it. Can't wait to start harvesting some fruit from this garden. It's coming. Until next time, take care.